صحي أو لعامل صحي أو لشخيلتكم عشان تبلغوا مساعدة طبية. لكثير من معلومات كي تتصل بوزارة الصحة في رقم المجاني 6666. رسالة دي بجالتكم من وزارة الصحة بدعم من منظمة الصحة العالمية يونيسيف والشركاء.
Welcome to the Sundown Show. On this show, we bring you the movers and shakers of South Sudan and the world over. We engage in debates and discussions that unearth the stories behind the news. And we have our light moments too by chit-chatting about issues that affect our day-to-day life. Stay right here on the Sundown. Join in and be part of the show on iRadio, your eye on South Sudan. The Sundown. For the news, views, opinion, debates, and discussions. Listen to who is who talking about issues that affect our country and continent. Only on the Sundown, your eye on South Sudan.
Hello and welcome to the Sundown Show on iRadio with me, Madrama James. Today is Thursday, the 8th of May 2025. In today's special edition, we turn the spotlight on a very important topic, protection from sexual exploitation and abuse, also known as PCA, especially in humanitarian setting. Sexual exploitation and abuse are serious violations of human rights that are often go unreported due to stigma, fear, or lack of knowledge about how and where to report. In this episode, we will be focusing on community awareness and the reporting mechanism that exists to protect survivors and hold perpetrators accountable. Joining us live in the studio is Brigadier General James Carlo, the Director of the Special Protection Unit, also known as SPCU, and Child Affairs at South Sudan Police Service. General, you are most welcome to the studios of iRadio.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. I think it is quite a long time before we could have other conversation with Sundown.
Sure. We are glad you are with us. General, from a law enforcement perspective, how serious is the crime of sexual exploitation and abuse in humanitarian setting in South Sudan?
Thank you. Let me introduce myself first. I'm Brigadier James Carlo. I'm the Director of a Special Protecting Unit. Our pillars of a Special Protecting Units are as follows. We propagate and we fight for impunity against sex or gender-based violence. We also fight impunity against sexual conflict related to gender-based violence, early marriage, forced marriage, child exploitation, and child abuse, and recruitment of the children. These are our pillars. That has to do with prevention, protection, participating and investigating, and also pinning down the perpetrators.
Now, take us through how serious is the crime of sexual exploitation and abuse in humanitarian setting in South Sudan?
Yeah, actually, we were requested by the international human rights organizations in regard to cases to do with sexual exploitation. And then during the time when our president signed a communique in 2014 in regard to sexual gender-based violence with those of United Nations, one of the elements of the action plan is in regard to sexual exploitation, and particularly for the organized forces, being Southern Sudan People Defense Force, Southern Sudan Police Service, Southern Sudan Prison Service, Fire Brigade, and Wildlife, and other organized forces that they have to abstain from this sexual exploitation, sexual abuse, and conflict related to gender-based violence. So we have launched the action plan. It got expired, and we have renewed it, and we are working on it. That is our pillars. So actually, the scenario of sexual exploitation, it is triggered particularly because of the economic situation of our country. You'll find that this poor young lady, being a mother or being a girl, as being exploited by somebody who is well off, okay, by deceiving her in one way or another. And then sometimes, because of stigma and trauma, they hardly report. Because if she reports, it becomes an abuse to her. That yesterday she has been sexually abused through the sexual exploitation. And then a repetition will also matters a lot. So they keep quiet, and that quietness creates stigma and creates trauma.
At this critical point where there's economic hardship and reports of violence in some other parts of the country, definitely the work of humanitarian agencies are needed, and these are the people sometimes who entangle with the communities. Now, what are some of the cases your unit have so far report in regards to the engagement, the aid workers, and of course the vulnerable communities?
Those of the UNAMIS and those of humanitarian organization, those of non-governmental organization, the joint peacekeeping force and the joint protection peacekeeping force and joint peace building, their mandate before they are sent on the ground, they are briefed particularly about sexual exploitation. And one time it happened in Wow with those forces of Ghana, where they had a case of sexual exploitation. So it is one of the elements that whoever is discovered that has committed sexual exploitation, he will be immediately returned to the country where he came from, and he will be accounted.
And this takes us to what are the legal obligations of the South Sudan police when it comes to handling cases of sexual exploitation and abuse?
It is there in our constitution. And then it is there in our Southern Sudan Penal Code. Southern Sudan Penal Code, Criminal Code of Procedure, Law of Evidence, and then also Child Act. Whoever commits sexual exploitation, automatically his trial before reasonable doubt with witnesses and with also a statement from the one who has been abused, the survivor, automatically he will be sentenced to prison. And he will also be forced to pay compensation. And if he belongs to any of the organizations I've mentioned, he will be sent back home and he will lose his contract automatically.
Now, implementing such a very constructive laws that you have so far mentioned, what are some of the gaps the Special Protection Unit is facing at the moment?
The biggest gap we are really facing is the mindset and the attitude of our people. Our people are being pulled down by a stigma. They are being pulled down by taboos. They are being pulled down by culture concept. They don't report. They hardly report because they think if they report, it will become an abuse to her. And then also another issue is the witnesses. The witnesses are hesitant to report because they also fear their protection against the perpetrators. So these are the issues we are really facing. The biggest issue we are facing is reporting. Because the rule of law says and an accused is innocent until his guilt is proved beyond reasonable doubt. And this reasonable doubt, it has to be accomplished and accompanied by evidence and witnesses. And then those who have gone to the scene of the offense. So if all these elements are not there, the judge will not pin down the perpetrators. So these are one of the issues. Another issue is that cases sometimes our attitude, we the organized forces, like particular police, a young lady comes to the reporting, then me on the table say, oh yes, you are right to be raped because you mini dressed, you came home late, so you are subject to be raped. This attitude will abstain the reporter to come back to the police. That means the investigator must be taught ethics, police code of conduct, how he should behave to the survivor, and the language he should use to the survivor. Sometimes he will use native language, and which the perpetrator, the survivor is not understanding. He will use his own language.
General, you mentioned cultural norms, one of the contributing factors to this gap you have mentioned. It's part of us. Why is General saying, culture is also contributing negatively?
We have to accept the universal values. We are members of United Nations, 194. We are members of African Union, 54. We are members of other organizations. And then we are supposed to respect United Nations laws. We are supposed to respect human rights, rule of law, criminal justice. And we are even supposed to adopt the universal values, the standard of a civilized nation. We are not living in an island. So automatically, when such a thing happened, then we have to use the norms and the cultures which are universal. We are not saying our cultures are bad, but there are some which are conflicting. For example, female gender mutilation. It has come now universally, it is prohibited. Tattoos, cutting. It has been prohibited. Okay? Earliest marriage of child below 18, recruitment before 18 has also been prevented. And then there are so many articles and research has been made on it. So actually we have to accept the new order of the universal order of ethics and the morals. No. We cannot say, my culture is the best. Okay, your culture is the best, but you have to respect other people's culture, and you have also to respect the universal cultures.
Before we talked about the role of that special protection unit, briefly, can you throw more light on there are certain issues that women can best talk to their fellow? And at the moment, if you take a look at the number of women working at police unit, special protection unit are very few. In that regards, what kind of challenges are you facing?
Yes, one of the important significant elements of opening the unit of a special protected unit, it is to recruit female officers, because our law says the survivor or the perpetrator, his statement are to be taken by the matching sex. For example, I'm a man and I've been abused. I think it will be very hard for me to go and explain to the woman that I got abused, because they'll say, how possible, you are a man, how can you be abused? So if I talk to the man, maybe the man may listen to me. And then when a lady comes and he explains to me, he will say, you are the same with that man that has abused and raped me. So that lady will prepare to give her statement to a female officers. So we are encouraging female officers in 9 police divisions within Central Equatoria. In every unit we have female officers. But you know the tendency, and it is long ago during the recruitment, women were a bit shy joining this uniform role. But now they are coming in. In our graduation recently, we had about 5 top officers who perform very well. And we have now more female officers, but we need to attract them. We need also to motivate them. They need to be motivated more than the men. How do we motivate them? By training, okay? By assisting them one way or another.
All right. General Doug, can you explain the role of the Special Protection Unit in ensuring your unit is structured to handle sensitive cases? Like you have mentioned a little bit of it, but Can you really elaborate more on that? Led Junubin Albert, ma barf kamani sumshin, wal ma basuma local English.
And I don't know also, no, the public, I want to aware to the public that one of the sanctions against us is issues of sex or gender-based violence and conflict gender-based violence. It is not only the arms embargo. So if we cannot be able to pin down the perpetrators and to protect the survival, we still will have problem with the international community. Okay? So actually, our role, we have 13 SPU units in the 13 states. Central Equatorial has the highest number. It has about today 10 units within Central Equatorial. Then addition to Torit, Terkeka, Numali, and other units. Okay? Now within these units, we have forces, but they are facing problems. We have the problem of technology, communication, logistics. We have the problem of the books, law books. We have the communication of motivation, as I already told you. These are one of the challenges also that are keeping them away. You know, I had some officers and I couldn't jokes, maybe morur into honey and milk, but we don't have honey and milk. What do we do now? Should all of us join traffic? So the issue is that we need to attract them by motivating them in one way or another.
Sure. Now, one of the major challenges in that protection of sexual exploitation and abuse is the issue of underreporting, like you have mentioned. Now, what is your unit doing in all these 29 divisions to make sure that this challenge is addressed?
Yeah, the beautiful part is that the international community and those of UNIMIS, those of UNDP, UN Women are really standing with us. Now we have formed what we call Women Network. And this woman network is involving all the organized forces. And then there are an advocate and there are our diplomats in regard to disseminate this issue of sex or gender-based violence. We have recently had a workshop in regard to the challenges facing women in uniform. Then we have also established community policing in all the 10 state and 3 administrative areas. And we invited the 13 police commissioners in Juba to brief them the most function element of community policing. So the mechanism we are using to disseminate this issue of vices against sex or gender-based violence, exploitation, and so on, it is through the community, and then we have formed, it only need to be backup, we have formed community outreach. And this one that they have to talk in the radio like I'm talking now, they have to have a meeting with the youth, with women, trade union, with civilians, and then they have to interact and then to bring women on board.
All right. Now, what challenges do police officers face when SIA cases involve staff from humanitarian agencies, especially when they are concerned from that about jurisdictions and community? What kind of challenges is police facing here?
The biggest challenge is our mindset. Our people don't understand that the issue of sex or gender-based violence is not anymore the thought of marasakit or the kalam farik, the kalam nuswan. It's not like that because it has now become one of the elements, the international elements that the ethics of sex or gender-based violence has to be disseminated, and we have to fight how to disseminate it. So the challenges we are really facing is our mindset, our attitude toward the issue of sex or gender-based violence. If we can preach this doctrine, and if this doctrine can be absorbed and understood, then we make campaign in all institutions to participate with us. Young, old, mother, brother, sister, aunt, nephew, to participate beside the father and the mother. Okay, then ethics, we have to respect our countermate. Because that lady is beautiful and I'm the boss, and she does broom in my office. Then I also want to exploit her, giving her about 50 alif, this for your feeding. Then go low bukura ya, can we meet in the riverside? These are the ethics. But any person, gentleman brought up with proper ethics, will not do this because he will treat her like her sister.
Now, in regards to what you have just mentioned, what are law enforcement officers doing to handle SIA cases with the sensitivity and professionalism when, especially, handling very important cases like this, and also to preserve the dignity and privacy of the survivors?
Yes, our young officers are doing great. Actually, they are doing great, although they are overwhelmed of the crisis. We now have the what we call the court, the juvenile court. And the juvenile court are working hand in hand with us, with those of criminal justice, the judges and the prosecutors. Although we have problem of the legal aids, okay, we have the problem of safe house, we have so many challenges. But actually, we are trying our level best. They are working very hard. They are making investigation. They are forwarding the case. But as I told you, the biggest issue is the reporting. And then another issue is that to see that the perpetrators are painted. I have a very good example. When I accommodated one of the survivors of sexual gender-based violence in my office because we have no safe home until the case was tried. And the survivor was given 14 years in prison. And those underage were sent into juvenile.
Talking about safe house, this is one of the important elements at Special Protection Unit. Why is it not really applying in all the divisions? Why?
Not only division, countries. The only reliable safe house now is only in Wow and Torit. Can you imagine this?
What's the problem?
The problem is that they are not taking it as a priority. When they are making mapping, when they are making data in regard to issues of sexual gender-based violence, they have to see what are the priorities. What is the safe house? The safe house is that this young lady, her father forced her to get married, and she wants to continue with her education. And the father already taken money from that guy who is marrying the daughter, and he keeps abusing the girl with the mother, and the girl will decide to commit suicide. So what do? If there is means, we take her to the safe house, and then we condole the father and the mother. Let the young girl go to school. If she will graduate as a doctor or engineer, all these cows you need, he will do them, even in 6 months. Okay? A woman is abused. Husband will not accept her at home. Okay, and also she can decide to create suicide, commit suicide. So the problem is the priorities. Let them make it with the World Bank are trying their level best to establish safe house and to build safe house in the former 3 states, Upper Nile, Barkazal, and Equatoria, and then also to modernize the local safe house which are now present. So safe house is one of the elements very important in regard to cases of gender-based violence. Another issue is legal aids. This poor lady needed an advocate to support her in the court because evidence may not be there. Maybe they have not gone to the scene of the offense. They did not collect the evidence. The witnesses did not come forward. So if we have the legal aids, they can help.
No, the issue, Director, you are the director at the Special Protection Unit, and you are meeting with friends and partners of your unit. Now, what kind of recommendations are you giving to them? Because you said the issue is they are not taking the safe house as a priority. What are you doing?
Yes, we have tried our level best. We actually have a committee. I don't know how you call it. We have a committee. Let us say, okay, that is composed of all the 13 divisions through UNIMIS, and we meet quarterly. Okay, and then we listen to their reports in regard to gender-based violence, and then we see way forward. Our legal units headed by Major General Sadiq. They have toured the 10 state and 3 administrative area to see that the legal offices are established within the states. Okay, and these offices will help, okay, in trialing the cases of sex and gender-based violence and cases also which are coming up like election. There will be a high, and then they will have to see that SPU offices also are established within the states. We have even toured the 10 state and 3 administrative area. We went to them and we have formed community outreach. And then our women network has also done the same. So what we are trying to do, our level best now, is partners. The greatest partner who's helping us is UNDP. They are the one giving us a boost, plus those of UN Women, plus UNIMIST, if they can help us, so that also we go back again and renew the program we have done 2 years or 3 years ago.
And this takes us, of course, to a moment where I would like also to find out from you what coordination mechanism exists between the police and humanitarian agencies such as the UN, the NGOs, when dealing with that severe cases. Are there protocols for joint investigation or referrals?
We have protocol. We have actually meeting. I think weekly we have a meeting with them, with the police commissioner of UNIMIST, and then we have the security units.
And why are survivors facing challenges, all this?
I have already told you that the survivors are facing challenges because of the mindset and the attitude. They don't report. This is one of the issues I'm telling you, that they hardly come and report. Okay? And then also we want to also upgrade our investigators and then our prosecutors. Okay, of running up the cases, that the survivors must benefit from the legal procedure. The perpetrators are supposed to go behind bars. So one of the issues is that reporting is one, and then secondly, handling the cases. See, and then thirdly is budget. They will not. The UN will not give us budget, but they will give us facilities. But we need budget, because there are issues where we need a budget. A girl comes defiled, bleeding. I cannot go to man of UN, I need this. But if I have something, I can immediately, emergency, I can assist by any means.
In your projection with the reports of that surveillance, I repeat, from some other parts of the country, and there's an economic meltdown where people are going through a lot on daily basis. What are some of the challenges you are foreseeing apart from the one that you have mentioned? People sometimes dealing with these NGOs, they end up, exchanging aid for sex sometimes, and which is not supposed to be like that.
Yeah, this is what I told you, that before they are dispatched to the countries, the first mandate they are told is about sexual violence. And is one of the toughest rules they are supposed to undertake. And I think they do undertake it. That whoever commits sexual exploitation, he will be automatically returned back to his country without any consideration. So it's one of the elements that they undertake before they come to the field. Okay? That they have to obey the ethics of sexual exploitation. Our people also in the colleges, we teach them police ethics. We teach them also penal code, criminal code of procedure, law of evidence, and other laws. And we also talk to them. And even our members of SPU, we tell them that this is a humanitarian work. Please respect the ethics. Please respect the survivor. Also respect the perpetrator, because the perpetrator is still innocent until you prove him guilty and you rehabilitate him. It's not only sending him to prison, you rehabilitate him, because he can go to prison and come back and he becomes what we call an habitual offender, returning back to prison again. So we need to rehabilitate him.
Now, how is the unit also handling a situation or a case involving a humanitarian aid worker? This is a person who have access to good money and dealing with our own South Sudanese who is vulnerable and at a dire need of the assistance. Now, in such a situation, what is the unit doing to ensure that such kind of perpetrators are held accountable?
Yeah, automatically, actually, they are protected from immunity, okay? Yeah, they are protected according to our protocol. They have some immunity against them. But actually, we write to their units. When a case is filed, we write to the units that such a group from whatever is Japanese, Indian, who contingency committed such a thing, then we write to the unit. Then their units will investigate the perpetrator, okay, and then will send us the result. Then, as I already told you, that there is no mercy when cases to do with sex or gender-based violence. Automatically, you will have to go back to where it come from, and then you have to be sentenced and dismissed.
In terms of data, out of these 29 division, is there any other case that finally the survivor have received justice?
Yeah, we have so many cases. We have juvenile court, we have so many cases. Only I did not bring the data. We have so many cases. Cases have increased, particularly in Upper Nile, when conflict erupted in Khartoum. People now are congested in Kolok, in Rang. So many cases of gender-based violence also are there. And then you have the Awel and you have Bentiu. Okay, we have also cases of gender-based violence. But we are trying our level best with the limited resources we have.
Via our Facebook page, we have Victor Long is saying the work outcome of your unit is less seen. So please, can you tell us what are some of the challenges are you facing? Why are your work or the special protection unit work is not really seen in the society?
Yeah, how will it be seen? Because actually, as I already told you, that our mindsets in regard to sex or gender violence is not taken as a priority. The priority is who commit murder. The priority who has committed cattle raiding. Priority is who has. But issue to do gender-based violence is taken as just a normal issue. Okay? So what we need more advocacy. We need more propaganda in the radio, in the newspapers, in the community, so that they understand. Because it's a new institution, and it has never been existing before, something to do with gender-based violence. So for them to understand and to match with our challenges and achievement, it needs also our commanders. That's why we are saying we are now and then bringing our commanders from the states to come to Juba, and then we brief them their role. The police commissioner, his role in the states. How does he run the SPU office in his states? So we are trying our level best with communication, through communication. And I already told you that now we have a unit which is what we call woman network. They are also our ambassadors, and we are also trying to inject to them so that they go and disseminate the issue of sex or gender-based violence to the public, so that they don't see it physically. Because when they go to the police division, they may not know that who has investigated the case and taken the case to the court. It is the staff of SPU. They don't know the difference of that small office of SPU, because they know the unit, the complete unit, but the small office of SPU within the unit, when the case is given to public prosecutor, then go to the judge, and then the case is passed, and then the sentence is executed, and then the perpetrator goes to prison. They will not know really who has played the role.
Well, in some other countries, in situation where people don't want really to open up and share some of the challenges or abuses they are going through, the unit takes up the role to send an investigation team on ground to investigate and find out exactly what's happening at the humanitarian setting. So in such a situation where you said like people are not willing to share out their challenges, now is there any other investigation team in place to find out exactly what's happening at humanitarian sector in Central Equatoria in particular?
Yeah, we have been doing it with those of Mariah. We used to have a joint venture with Radio Mariah and even with iRadio in regard to cases of gender-based violence, conflict related to gender-based violence. We used to bring people from UNIMIS, from other organized units, and we used to have debates, and we used to have talks, and we used to exchange and make a conversation.
What I mean, like sending a police officer to go to some of these NGOs and find out what are some of the abuses South Sudanese are going through in these organizations.
Yeah, we have it. As I already told you that in the 10 states and the 3 administrative area, those of UNIMIS, they meet quarterly with the members of SPU, Special Protected Unit, and it is televised to us live, and we listen to them. We used to have that sitting in UNIMIS. Okay. Well, sometimes we increase the period of coming together with them and listen to them, their challenges, what has been. Has any one of the members of UNIMIS committed sexual abuse or sexual exploitation? Has any of organized forces has been sentenced or has been found guilty in regard to gender-based violence? They give us the report, and then we see way forward. And because of this, that's why we say our legal office has toured the 10 state and 3 administrative areas, checking the cases, and then seeing that the offices are functional, even disseminating the issue of election, and disseminating the issue of community policing and the issue of SPU.
All right. Now, what are some of the common cases of abuses your unit have so far discovered in Central Equatoria and some other parts of the country?
The highest is domestic violence, and the domestic violence, it is triggered by the economical situation, because the gentleman leaves the house, he goes and have his makoya, whatever it is, and he comes back at night and he needs food on the table, and he have left not even a penny to that poor woman, and he needs food. And the woman will say, well, today we are going to have porridge. We are not going to have chicken or eggs because we cannot afford it. Okay? And then it becomes violence. And so,
how about in humanitarian, this humanitarian organization, what are some of the abuses?
The other abuse is what I already told you, that actually it is entirely one of the doctrine given to them, and they are briefed before they are dispatched to any country, that issue of sexual exploitation is one of the elements that they are strictly forbidden, and they do even make undertaking.
All right. Dear listener, if in case you have just joined us, you are listening to the Sundown Show with me, Madrama James, and we are discussing an important topic, that's a protection from sexual exploitation and abuse. I'm joined live in the studio by Brigadier General James Carlo, who is the Director of the Special Protection Unit and Child Affairs at the South Sudan Police Service. If you have a question or comment, do that on 0911022986 and 986. And some of you who have so far raised their question via our Facebook page, after this break, I will go through them.
The Ministry of Health is conducting a commemoration of African Vaccination Week with a new vaccine introduction of pneumonia vaccine, targeting all children aged between 6 to 14 weeks. Take your child to the nearest vaccination center during the African Vaccination Week or Big Catch-up campaign.
Good morning, Mama Alice.
Good morning, Mama Ladu. Where are you coming from this morning?
I had taken Ladu for pneumonia vaccination at the health center to protect my child against pneumonia and meningitis. He was also vaccinated with other routine immunization vaccines at no cost. Is baby Alice already vaccinated?
Yes, she was vaccinated last month. Does she need to be vaccinated again?
Yes, she needs to be vaccinated with at least 3 doses at 6, 10 and 14 weeks to be fully vaccinated, immunized and protected against pneumonia.
Really? I just heard from afar that there will be a vaccination campaign during the African Vaccination Week, but I was not keen enough to get the details.
You know, pneumonia vaccine is effective in preventing pneumonia and deaths in infants and young children. This vaccine has just been introduced this year, 2025. A lot of children were not vaccinated. Some even travel without being vaccinated. I wouldn't want to see any child get pneumonia.
I didn't know that pneumonia is very serious, that it can cause meningitis and even death.
Yes, pneumonia is a life-threatening disease caused by bacteria or viruses. The signs are cough, fever, chills, and shortness of breath, which may be accompanied by chest pain when breathing or coughing. Children who survive may experience long-term effects on lung function and increased risk of respiratory conditions like asthma.
Asthma or lung function complication? Oh, that sounds scary. How can I protect my child from this dangerous disease?
The only way for your child to be safe is when your child and all children in your neighborhood are vaccinated with pneumonia vaccine.
I will do that immediately. Where can I take my child for this vaccine? Hope it is not late.
No, you are not late. Pneumonia vaccine and all the other routine vaccines are available at all government health centers in your areas. Tell your neighbors with children between 6 to 14 weeks to be vaccinated.
I'm glad you told me. I will take my child immediately to the nearest health center for pneumonia vaccination.
Bring your child to the nearest health center and protect them from pneumonia and other vaccine-preventable diseases. This message is brought to you by the National Ministry of Health with support from WHO, UNICEF, and South Sudan Women in Medicine.
The Sundown, for the news, views, opinion, debates, and discussions. Listen to who is who talking about issues that affect our country and continent. Only on the Sundown, your eye on South Sudan.
Yes, welcome back from our first commercial break of the show. And this is a moment now you can pick up that cell phone and reach us on 0911-229-8698. As we talked about sexual exploitation and abuse, which is a serious violation of human rights and that often go unreported due to that stigma, fear, or lack of knowledge about how and where to report. Now, in the studio, I'm joined live by that Brigadier General James Carlo, who's the Director of the Special Protection Unit and Child Affairs at the South Sudan Police Services. Let me first have our first caller. Radio.
Madrama James.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you.
What's your question to Brigadier General?
Thank you very much. I would like to ask two questions, if you like. And we know gender-based violence is problematic in the society because many cases often go unreported. It is a good topic. My first question is, when we talk about gender-based violence, the respect of women's rights, does that mean that we should do away with our cultural norms? The second one is, to whom should the victim of gender-based violence go? These are my two questions.
Thank you very much. Hi, Radio.
Good evening, Madrama.
Good evening, Diang Diang.
Thank you. My greeting to my General Dak.
Welcome.
Actually, you have explained more. I think you take it become expert in GDP issues. And the only thing is that you have to double support to make sure that this unit have more staff and police also. Another thing is to make sure that also the police is trained. And my first question is that why could you not make it a course in training centers so that when the police are being trained in training centers, make sure that the course related to GBV is also acted on so that when they are graduated, they are aware and they will be able to protect gender-based violence, because I think gender-based violence, not only women, but gender-based violence.
Sure.
All genders are protected from exploitation and abuse.
Thank
Now,
you.
second question is that when we talk about exploitation and abuse, yes, it's something happening in South Sudan and cannot be denied. And it's rampant. Every unit and every institution is practicing this. But the issue is now, particularly here, you are focusing on sexual exploitation and abuse. But generally, exploitation is happening. And something that also the police and the government of South Sudan, you people need to look at it. Because if you people look after sex, then you are leaving the other dangerous exploitation happening to people. Labor exploitation, job exploitation, a lot of things exploitation is happening here. And there are you people, you need to cooperate and deal with them. But you are looking after sex, you will not get report. So this is one thing that let it be generally exploitation and abuse instead of looking at sexual exploitation and abuse, so that you are able to incorporate and make sure that South Sudanese are protected.
Thank you.
Then the third question is that sexual exploitation and abuse now happening, especially in private companies and NGOs. And these things need investigation. And how do you deal with that in the companies? Today, South Sudan is a big country where the foreign companies are making. And if we are not carefully, we educate our girls who we took to schools from primary to secondary to universities. They get graduated. We cry with them when they become graduated, feeling that they are going to be breadwinners of our family. But very unfortunately, before being used sexually, they will not get a good job.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Diang Deng. iRadio. All right. Let's start from where Diang Deng left. How are you dealing with the issue of that's exchanging job for fast sex and other exploitation? Brigadier, welcome.
Yeah, actually, it's a bit of a tragedy. Anyway, as I already told you, that the elements that are contributing to these vices are so many. One of them is the issue of economic breakdown, and then also education, okay, and then the environment of the individual who has become a victim of this sexual exploitation. So actually what we do is we have even tried our level best to introduce the cases of sex or gender-based violence, conflict related to gender-based violence in the colleges, in our colleges, Bolis College, Bolis Academic, and Bolis non-commissioned schools. And we also make briefing and debriefing to our forces when we meet them and when we talk to them in parade in regard to the security situation on the town. And we talk to them about issue of sex or gender violence. You know, I give them a very good credit. Then when the crisis broke out in Juba, concerning case of our people who were killed in Medini, the victim, the northern victims were accommodated in Buluk. Okay? Buluk,
they call it
Ashara Walayat. Well, wonderful. Until they left, those who left for Khartoum and those who were rehabilitated, there was no issue of case of gender-based violence.
But now,
see how
Diang Deng is saying there are some South Sudanese ladies, for example, who have gone to school, qualified, but if they want to apply for job, you are first forced to have sex before giving you that job. How are you dealing with this? That's the question.
I'm coming. So I give a credit to our people, because you know the moral ethics of our people really it values, and if we can strengthen it, it is wonderful, because we have even the laws of the bylaws, our native bylaws are really rich. So it is just need to be strengthened, that sexual abuse is not prohibited. For whoever want to apply, to join us, the door is open. Our recruitment has now been stopped because it says that the unified forces are to be graduated first, and we are doing it. We have already graduated the first batch, and the second batch is on the way, and the third batch will be coming. And then automatically we'll open the door to the college. Those who have a school certificate will compete.
All right. All right.
And then if he wants to be recruited, he's welcome.
Okay.
With his certificates and eligibility, medically fit, it's welcome highly.
Let's talk about another exploitation in humanitarian setting, a situation where if you apply for a job, the HR or whoever is there, one of the key decision maker will say, I will first take your 6 month salary or 2 months or 3 months before giving you this job. Now, in such a situation, what is the Special Protection Unit doing?
Wonderful. But I already told you, you cannot take a horse to drink water in the river and force the horse to enter in the water.
What do you mean?
What I mean, if the survivor has not reported, the doctor cannot go to the survivor and say, are you sick? It is you who goes to the doctor. Okay? And the doctor will not go and knock the door.
No.
If they don't report to us, how will we know? And then we have been doing dissemination to them that in every police unit there is a division of SPU and the door is open confidentially.
All right. Now, let's talk to two more lucky callers and then we call it a show. 0911-229-8696. If you have a question to that Brigadier General, you can call us right here and raise that before we wrap up this very show. Luinda Gmenken Swalwala Talik Best fi Zaman al Beside Tabak the Drum Hanina wa Kaman Sharik Manina Raya Bitak for Sefer Tisa Wide Wallet Nin Tisa Temenia Sita Radio.
Good evening, Madrama.
Good evening.
Yeah, this guy thing. The P. Hajal said General Galo Asad, a little low, I had the magic doctor, a little Maktal Gailai. There's a Lakin, Anna Begida Ayan, will get Michelle Doctor, what about Gailai, Lanu Doctor, but the Bejawa, Lakin Michelina, P. South Sudan, especially P. Police. Citizen, we do not trust police. That the Hajj and Maprut who are there's no confidence with the South Sudan law. Junubin and one Musaka Lanta, Mechet Patet Balak, you will end up being victim over your own case. So you become you will be doubly stressed by the police. They need money first. You don't have money, the case will not go on. And then 1, 2, to arrest a perpetrator, they need money. They don't have money, they will not bring the perpetrator. That's 1, 2. Maybe you get that the unit even closed down. They say come tomorrow at 9. So people are looking at you as if it's strange.
No, because
how will you people solve this?
Thank you.
The only challenge that citizens are failing to report.
Thank you. Yes, can you respond to that? Sometimes you are a survivor, but at the same time, the police or the Special Protection Unit demands money from you in order even to arrest the perpetrators. And what would be your message, of course, to police officers deployed in your areas where humanitarian operations are also going in terms of that vigilance and upholding the law against exploitation as we are coming to the end of this show?
Let me be. I'm pretty sure that nothing has come across my unit in regard moral abuse against survivors or perpetrators. Our people are very obedient and they are very strict to the ethics because we teach them ethics and we also tell them that confidentiality is one of the elements because it is a humanitarian work. They should be our bona or our sister.
No.
So I'm pretty sure that they are abiding with our contact. We have given them a small booklet done by UNIMIS and they are abiding as a part of their Bible. If there is such a case, let them report to us.
What is your message to personnel deployed at the Special Protection Unit?
I appeal to them that let them take up the case as part of humanitarian work. Let them take it as a part of humanitarian work and let them also have the local ownership. Let them own it.
All right. Thank you very much. Dear listener, with that, we have come to the end of our very discussion, and we have been talking about the importance of protection from sexual exploitation and abuse. My guest was Brigadier General James Carlo, Director of the Special Protection Unit and Child Affairs at the South Sudan Police Services. I've been your host, Madrama James. Thanks for listening.